What's up, everybody? My name is Brad, and today I'm doing another book review for you, and that's on George R.R. Martin's Fire and Blood. This is set 300 years before the events of Game of Thrones and the Song of Ice and Fire books, when the Targaryens and their dragons ruled over Westeros. Just to give you a little bit of backstory with me and the Song of Ice and Fire books, these are the books that sort of got me back into reading. I read in elementary school, and then through middle school, high school, and on past that, I didn't really care to read at all. It felt like a chore to me, like homework, and I would rather be doing other things. But I started watching the Game of Thrones TV show, and I noticed one of my friends was reading the first Game of Thrones book, and I don't even know if I knew that the show was based on books at the time. But whatever season I was watching it ended, and I wanted to know more about it. I really loved the show. I loved all the characters and the world building, how gritty the fantasy world was in this. So I decided to pick up the first book, A Game of Thrones, and I read all 5 books in probably a year and a half, which for me at the time, that was a lot of reading. But I fell in love with the books even more so than the show. Like I said, I love the gritty realism fantasy aspect of it. I love how the magical elements are sort of mysterious and in the background and, lost to time and history. They're not in the forefront like some other fantasy series are. You can probably see them all there. I've got all 5 novels. I also have it's like the world book for the Song of Ice and Fire. And I've read the Hedge Knight books regarding Dunk and Egg. It's A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, I believe is what that book is called. But I love all these books. They're all 4 to 5 stars for me. So I'm a little bit biased when it comes to this. So this was a 5-star read for me. I blew through it. It's just a little over 700 pages, and I read the whole thing in like a week's time. But like I said, this is a history set before the events of the books and the television show. It starts out from when Aegon the First, the Conqueror, came over from Valyria and settled on Dragonstone, and then later conquered all of Westeros and united all of the kingdoms into the 7 kingdoms all together under his reign. And this is part 1 of 2. So this covers about the first 150 so years of the Targaryen reign, from Aegon the First up till the beginning of Aegon the Third's reign here at the end of the book. This book isn't written in the same sort of format as the other books. It's not chapter to chapter as far as switching first-person perspectives from different characters. This is written more sort of like a history textbook, and it's written from the point of view of an Archmaester from the Citadel in Old Town. I think his name is Gildane, is how I believe it's pronounced. And the front of the book, it says that all his notes and things have been transcribed by George R.R. Martin, which I thought was kind of cool. But this goes over, some of this has been previously released. I know there was a short story called The Blacks and the Greens, which was released in one of George R.R. Martin's other collections. It was either Rogues or Dangerous Women. And there was another one, let's see if it says it in here. Should have looked this up. I think it's The Rogue Prince. It was another short story that was put in Rogues is what it says. But those are collected in here, so you might have read some of this material previously, but it's all collected in here along with a bunch of new material. Like I said, it reads like a textbook, which for me, that was great. I loved it. I love all the history, learning about the history of the world and the different family trees and the small, towns and settlements and cities. And this has plenty of the politics like the other Get books and backstabbing. There's wars and battles in here. And there's dragons fighting other dragons. So it's super interesting. It has a lot of action in it, if you will, but it's not set up the same way as the other books. But like I said, I really love this book. Can't wait for part 2 to come out, and for the last 150 some odd years of the Targaryen reign. I guess that'll go up to the Mad King and then Daenerys, the last Targaryen, which will be interesting. See how much of that has to do with the other books. See if he goes further than the books he's already written or not. I'm patiently waiting for Winds of Winter. Whenever that comes out, I'll be sure to grab that up and read that. But like I said, this might not be for you if you're not into all the history and stuff. Like I said, it is written out sort of like a textbook. But for me, I just devoured it in about a week's time. Love learning about all the different knights and the locations and, you know, the different histories. And I love how the naming that he does on everything. But the book itself is a pretty nice looking book. The illustrator, all the illustrations inside are done by Doug Wheatley. I just wanted to show some of those off because the art in the book is pretty dope. Let's see if I can find a few more pictures for you. Here's a good one. Big spread of people of King's Landing, I think it is, and the dragons. A battle in the sea. Yeah, the artwork alone is worth it. I'll show you one more picture so I can find a good one. There's a smaller one, some guys' heads on spikes. But yeah, if you like the Game of Thrones or the Song of Ice and Fire books, I totally recommend that you check this out. I don't think you'll be disappointed. But those are my thoughts on it. Like I said, I loved it. 5-star read for me. Have you read this book, Fire and Blood? If you have, I'd like to discuss it down there in the comments with you. Whether you liked it, disliked it, what you did like about it, you know, if whatever you learned about it, your favorite characters and all that kind of stuff. Be more than happy to talk to you about it down in the comments. But that's all I have for you today. So thanks for spending your time with me, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.